If you have a fear of being seen, this is the only video you will ever need to watch.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Let's get into the video.
The people who need you cannot find you if you're hiding. And I'm not just talking about posting online. I mean not starting the business, not applying for the role, not saying what you actually think, not leaving the relationship you already know is wrong. I know you don't want to be seen because being seen means being judged, and it means somebody might not like it. It means somebody might misunderstand you. So you say, "Oh, I'm still working on it. I'm just not ready yet. It's not the right time." No, stop. If people really saw you, your ideas, your ambition, your opinion, you are afraid they're going to have something to critique. Guess what? They might. And it does not matter. You think hiding is keeping you safe, but it's costing you momentum. It is costing you the life you say you want. You need a higher tolerance for being uncomfortable. Nobody builds confidence in private. You build it by surviving being seen. Post the thing, say the opinion, raise your hand, put yourself out there. Not when you feel ready, when you feel exposed. That's the rep. That's the muscle. Hope that helps.
Had I not posted online, I would not be a best-selling author because I got my first book deal as a result of posting online. I was posting on Twitter at the time. Had I not posted online, I would have never met my husband because he found me through one of my online posts and started following me and continued following me because he liked my content, particularly my writing. Had I never posted online, I wouldn't have got a podcast either. My point is, I'm so glad that I've never been crippled by a fear of visibility because my life will look completely different. I love my life. It is everything I could dream of and more. And a lot of the amazing things that have happened to me happened because I didn't shy away from promoting my work or myself online, sharing my thoughts, my ideas online, and just being perceived. So I say all this to say, for some of you, the only thing standing in between you and your dream life is your unwillingness to be seen and heard by strangers. Because sometimes it's those strangers that will have the biggest impact.
Wake up, because we are getting over our fear of being seen right now. Get out a piece of paper and write down at the title, I feel safe being seen, because that is the new era that we are in. So being afraid to be seen is just a protective mechanism that is trying to protect you from what your mind thinks is going to happen when you are seen. I want you to write out exactly what your mind thinks is going to happen when you are seen. I'll go first. So my mind thinks that when I am seen being my most authentic self, that I will be rejected. I listed out a few other things in mind, and when you list these things out and you consciously see them, they don't have power over you anymore. You start to recognize and you can start to rewire this and not be afraid to be seen.
This one's for my girlies with a fear of being seen. They don't build statues of critics. The haters in your comment section aren't reaching 1 million followers. The people in your hometown that are judging you aren't reaching the financial freedom that you could be. Therefore, we are not about to let a bunch of people with limited mindsets, yes, limited, because if they weren't, they would actually understand what you were doing and therefore cheer you on and support you, to hold ourselves back from meeting our fullest potential, to accessing all of the joy, the success, the abundance that already has your name written all over it. I mean, that's inevitable. That's why the idea, the dream is already in your head, because that's what you're supposed to go out there and get. It's literally just a matter of time. It's literally just a matter of courage and confidence for you to stand up and go out there and get it. So I'm sick of you playing it small. I'm sick of you caring about what other people think about you. If they're not where you want to be in life, there's quite literally no point in considering their opinion. So please do one thing today that's going to get you closer to starting, to achieving that goal. It's going to feel anxiety-inducing, nerve-wracking, and scary. Nobody said it was going to be easy, but we did say you have to do it and you have to start.
Glow different this summer. The Vaseline Illuminate Me Body Butter and Glow Oil set is that combo. Deep hydration, radiant shimmer glow, perfect for melanin-rich skin. Moisturize plus glowing at the same time? Yes please. Soft skin, shiny glow, all in one. Get it as a combo or separately at an affordable price. Link in the description below.
You can be the most confident person and still have a fear of being seen because science shows that it's actually not about insecurity. It's about identity. Let me explain. If the moment that eyes are on you, you get anxious, that's because your body doesn't expect connection. It expects risk. So the real question is, why does attention feel so dangerous? And that's because of survival mode. It's because your nervous system's first job is safety, not expression. So when your brain thinks that visibility equals rejection, it activates fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And fawn response looks like being likable to everyone, reading faces before speaking, and shrinking your opinion to avoid any potential conflict. And here's the thing, everyone has a threat system, but it only stays active if it was trained to protect you often when you were growing up. And that's why for you now, it turns on automatically, even when nothing is wrong. So what is it that keeps that system running? That brings us to shame. Neuroscience shows that rejection activates the same pain circuits as injury. So shame doesn't just feel like emotions, it feels like danger. And when the brain thinks that you're at risk, silence is always going to feel a lot safer than expression. But shame isn't the cause, it's what the brain creates when you have low self-worth. When self-worth is low, it becomes dependent on how other people respond to you. Psychologist Mark Leary calls this sociometer theory. Your brain tracks social reactions to figure out whether you belong. And low self-worth is caused by a weak identity. Self-worth needs something real to stand on, and identity is that foundation. We build identity when we have a space to express ourselves, and we get consistent feedback about who we are. And that's how we learn, this is me, and I'm allowed to exist as me. But if you grew up in a place where being fully yourself was not allowed, maybe there was a lot of judgment or pressure to adjust yourself, then your identity didn't get built. Instead of asking, who am I? You'll learn to ask, who do I need to be accepted? So you had to adapt. And when your identity is adapted, your self-worth becomes unstable because now it depends on other people to tell you if you're okay or if you're acceptable. That makes your worth conditional. It rises and falls depending on the reactions or body language or silence. So that's the chain. When identity is unstable, worth becomes unstable, shame enters, and the nervous system protects you. And that's why visibility feels dangerous. So maybe you never really feared being seen. Maybe you were just never safe enough to be fully yourself when eyes were on you.
I've been posting on the internet for like 2 years, and as someone who used to have post anxiety, the advice that I have for anyone who like wants to post but is scared to is that like that goes away. Like that literally disappears when you do it. And when you keep doing it, when you realize that this isn't real and that if you are really thinking so much about how you're perceived through the lens of this screen, you need to get off of the internet because you're likely creating judgments and perceptions about other people based on your activity and your presence online. The only reason that you would assume that people would judge you or create a perception about you based on the internet and your presence on the internet is because that's what you do. And of course, like we have these curated images, right? Like we're all saying something with our presence, but a lot of times you just have to expect that there will always be assumptions made, and all you can do is show up as authentically as you can and also like as expressively as you can. Like you can't forget that this is a medium of creativity. This is a medium of expression. This is a medium for you to be seen by you. Not by anyone else, like that's a byproduct of you seeing you, but this is a way for you to express being seen by yourself. That's it. That's all that it is. And the more that I've posted on the internet, the less I've let go of the need for anything on the internet to be of perfectionism. And for a long time, I just posted on TikTok because I was like, TikTok is safe. It's a safe place. But when the TikTok ban happened, I was like, damn, like I'm really gonna need to get over my fear of posting on Instagram. And the more that I have gotten over my fear of posting on Instagram and I've just shown up and posted it and I didn't really care anymore, the easier it's gotten. The more I've realized it really doesn't matter. The more I've realized that the more that I scroll and consume, the less I want to create, the less I want to post. And the more that I just show up, say what I need to say and get the hell out, the more fulfilling it is for me because I know I'm using this as a medium of expression, as a creative tool. If you are someone who literally like takes a photo, looks at it a million times, like edits it, and then like decides whether or not you should put it on your story and then puts it on your story and then deletes it 5 minutes later, like you need to calm down, okay? You need to stop taking social media so seriously and acting as if the people who see it are going, oh, why did she choose that filter? so ugly. The only reason that you fear being judged and perceived that way is because there's part of you that judges and perceives yourself that way. And that is really where the inner work begins. If you want to start posting on the internet and showing up online, literally just do it. And if it's terrifying for you to do it, then that is a beautiful opportunity for some inner work and introspection as to why you think that the world will judge you in a negative way, i.e., what are those judgments? What do they say? Because that's probably what the inner critic in your head says. That's probably what the little voice of judgment in your head is telling you all live long damn day long. And God, that's insufferable to live with. And God, that has nothing to do with whether or not you post online or don't post online, or if what you post is good or not good. There are so many people posting shit, and they got a lot of people's attention, because attention is a currency that we can only attract and magnetize to ourselves if we give ourselves the space to be attended to be paid attention to. And if you want to dig deep there, I have a podcast. It's called Figuring Shit Out, and there's a lot on this.
Whenever I tell people that I grew my Instagram from 6,500 to 525,000 followers within 2 years, they always ask me for strategies and tips and what's your posting schedule and what was the video that went viral and what is, the secret that you use and all of that stuff. And my answer is, it literally does not matter. Like, your strategy does not matter. I think social media has a lot to do with how you are and who you are psychologically and whether you're ready to be seen or not. I've been wanting to do social media for nearly 3 to 4 years before I actually blew up, and I wasn't necessarily consistent, but I also had this fear of being seen. It's just an inner feeling that you're not comfortable being authentic and yourself yet. So you have this facade, you pretend to be someone else on social media, you fake it, like the way you show up itself is completely different. But it was after my last breakup that I knew I was finally ready to be seen. I was ready to genuinely step into, the best version of myself and the most authentic version of myself. And for some reason, my social media just completely reflected that. This is not to say that I am seen and I'm loved together, but I am authentic to myself. Every time I make a video, I get so many hate comments. I get roasted all the time. I get dragged for everything, the way that I look, the way that I sound, my accent, my viewpoints, my content. I get so much negativity. But at the same time, this is the most authentic I've been. Like, this is the most honest version of myself. And that has to do with the fact that I finally let go of so many inhibitions that I had, so much of self-doubt, so much of questioning my worth. And the way that I showed up and the way that I spoke was just so true to who I am. If you've been posting consistently and you're not seeing that kind of success yet, yes, look at your strategy. Yes, look at what works and what doesn't. I think much more than that is try to do the shadow work and try to understand if you are truly being authentic every single day of your life, not just on social media, but do you live in a way that is completely true to you? And then your social media really grows to reflect that.
If you have a fear of being seen, this is the only video you will ever need to watch. I'm going to tell you exactly how to get over it and how I got over it. As somebody who was very shy, did not have an online presence, did not think I was the type of person to have an online presence, was a very private person, did not want to post online whatsoever, to growing a blog and selling it, then starting a podcast, appearing on the charts multiple times, growing social media platforms, growing a Substack, starting this new page, etc. I literally removed and canceled out the fear of being seen from my psyche, and I'm going to help you do the same thing. The first step is to remove the power from the fear and ultimately remove the fear itself. Why you have to do this is because it's very possible to start doing whatever you need to do that requires the visibility while still having that fear, but then not doing the thing to the best of your potential. Because if you never get rid of the fear and you think you can just be consistent and start doing it anonymously or whatever, it will always come back to bite you by causing you to self-sabotage anytime you start getting more visibility. So let's talk about how to dismantle the power that it has and how to remove it. What I had to do was I had to ask myself, why am I afraid of being seen? What do I think will happen if I get more visibility? I went down a rabbit hole that made me realize that the reason I had a fear of being seen was because when I was younger, back in my teenage years, I used to be bullied a lot for being skinny. That's the first thing that people would always talk about or mention anytime I was introduced to somebody or like anytime I was around people. I grew up in the Caribbean, if you know, you know. So subconsciously that made me feel like with more visibility, with more eyes on me, it would mean that people would make fun of me. it doesn't even make sense. Like, it doesn't even necessarily connect, but that's how our subconscious mind creates these patterns that later affect us and form fears, like the fear of being seen. So I went down that rabbit hole, and then I had to rewrite the story, because then I realized that was no longer a threat in my current reality. I had to realize that what I was subconsciously afraid of was something that happened in the past that was no longer a threat in my current reality. So I had to rewrite the story and tell myself that it is safe to be seen, and that by showing up online, by saying what I have to say, by being myself authentically, I am actually helping people. And once I went down that rabbit hole of unpacking it, it's like the fear vanished. There was more work and more stuff I did, but that's just a high level overview of how I literally dismantled the fear by facing it head on instead of just letting it live in the background and dictate my decisions and how I show up online and in my life. And that was literally part of an identity shift that I had to do, which is what I coach people on how to do inside of my program. Because when you have these fears and things affecting you, it's literally an identity shift that has to be done, where you unpack the things that are holding you back and rewrite these stories and these narratives so that you can show up as the version of yourself required for the things that you want to do. Now, that in itself, honestly, is the most important thing that you can do to address this fear, unpacking where it came from and assessing whether or not that's a current threat in your reality today, and rewriting the stories that you tell yourself so that that fear can no longer be a threat to whatever it is you're trying to do. And I created a whole podcast episode with the rest of the tips to guide you through how to get over this fear practically when you are done doing the internal work. But the most important place you can start right now, the thing that is going to make the biggest difference, is the identity shift that happens when you start facing and unpacking why you have that fear of being seen. Now, if you want me to help you practically apply that to whatever you're working on or whatever goals you have in life, where that fear is holding you back or other fears, then that's what my coaching program is for. But if you want to dive deeper in the fear of being seen, I would highly recommend you do this exercise, ask yourself these questions, and then you can watch my podcast episode on the rest of the practical tips to help you get over that fear. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.